Hey everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. It's Timmy C, Grateful Gardens, landscaping and snow removal, and it's that time of the year, the holidays, to give thanks. And when I was young, I'm the last of 7 kids, and my dad was a pharmacist in our local town, and my mom would always make these spectacular cakes, these coffee cakes, and she would give them to the vendors or the clients or whoever really did our family right throughout that joyous year. And I'm the last of 7 kids, and this is what I always did with my mom, and so it's kind of tradition. And so when I started Grateful Gardens, I said, you know what, I'm going to make coffee cakes for everybody at the end of the year to give thanks, and they're delish. So if you're lucky enough to get one, try it out, but everybody wants the recipe. So here's the recipe, everybody. All right, plain and simple. Start off with a little Crisco and a nice big old bun pan, and grease it up. You got to grease that sucker up, because when I get to the batter part and at the end, I don't want it sticking in that bundt pan. I need it to pop out on my drying rack. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is I always get my dry goods ready and mixed separately. End result right here. It is basically 3 cups of flour. I'm going to say it's 1.5 tablespoons of baking soda. I'm going to have a mystery ingredient behind this pan that I'm not going to divulge, so I can't give my recipe away. And then the recipe from my mom calls for a tablespoon and a half of salt, and I'm all the way down to a half a tablespoon of salt. We live at 6,000 feet, so what I do is for 3 cups of flour here in Truckee, I add about 1/3 to a little more than 1/3 more of a cup of flour. So just under a half a more extra cup of flour. And then I'll take my KitchenAid whisk, and I'll just whisk all my dry goods together so I'm 100% ready to go. Now, I tend to make maybe 20, 30 these cakes a year for all our clients. So now over the years, I've got it down to where I have 8 pans, 4 bowls, and I get 4 things ready. Then I'll drop 4 pans, fire up the oven, put 4 cakes in the oven, and then within that hour cook time, I can whip out the ingredients for 4 more and put them in their bundt pans and have them ready. The oven will go off, I'll pull those, cool them, put in the new ones, and I can just kind of process. They're still made with love, but there's a lot to do, and one at a time that takes forever. So I've learned I can condense this down to close to the holidays, give them out at Christmas time. Oh man, just Merry Christmas to everybody. Okay, so that's stage 1 and 2, getting those things ready, and 3, I gotta get over here. So the key thing with this whole ingredient is it does call for a lot of sugar, and I try to minimize my sugar. Mom was into it, so we do 1.5 cups sugar. I use a 1/4 cup, and I'll just try to drop out a little bit on that 1/4 cup. Then, the trick of all tricks is having soft, warm butter. Like, I'll put this on a plate and stick it over my heater or over on my bench right now. Yeah, check this out. These benches are from my house. From when I was a little kid, back in the 1960s, I sat on these for breakfast, but I'll set my butter up so the heater warms it up to a solid room temperature, because now when I mix this all up, you're gonna see how the sugar will dissipate. So a trick my mom always taught me is just to pull the wrapper over the bowl. Then I need a 1/2 cup, which is basically a 1/2 cube. Tricky part is slicing that up when it's soft. Rip it. Get my soft butter. This is the key. Can you see how creamy and soft that is? Because that is going to make our batter just twice is better. You don't want chunky batter, because then it's melting in the actual pie when it's cooking in the oven, and you don't want that. So here's the trick right here, you guys. When I start beating this sugar together down in the bowl, I'm gonna know when this is ready when the sugar on the bottom loop of this bowl disappears and is all mixed in. Then I can add my eggs and my vanilla. Soft butter, the key. Look down in there, man. Watch this mix together. The butter will just collect all this sugar slowly. I'm at mid-range on a KitchenAid. Yeah, I could bump it up a little bit if I wanted to. But just look down in there, that bottom portion. It's collecting it, it's collecting it, it's collecting it. Boom. Basically, we have butter and sugar completely mixed. See how it's completely gone now? So now I'll drop my egg in there. Yeah, I could do it while the motor's running. And if you've cracked enough eggs, you pretty much have faith that you're not going to drop any shell in there. I've never heard about anybody getting some shell from me. But look at that, there's a little piece right there. So I've got my eggs in. Now Mom's recipe, this is the one thing you can vary in this recipe. Mom's recipe calls for 1.5 tablespoons vanilla. I love vanilla, so I do a tablespoon. I like double the dose. And then for goodwill, I add just a little bit more. And that's my variance. Every cake is a little bit different because of the amount of vanilla that I add. So, I got that going. Got my eggs, my sugar, my vanilla, my butter. We're in. Now I need to add the last ingredient, and that is sour cream. And we put in 1.5 cups of sour cream. Is that close to a cup? Close enough for me. I might have been a little short on it. So my 1/2 cup. And make sure that sucker's full and then give it a little extra. What the heck, why not? Yeah. So there's my sour cream. Now I'm going to mix this to a consistency of liquidy goodness. Oh! Alright, so that's looking really, really good. Now you think you're ready to add your dry ingredients. This is one thing I will suggest to you is always remix this up with your spatula. That bottom portion, you never know what's going to get stuck. Just mix that up in your batter one time so just all your ingredients are super well mixed up. Another 15 seconds. Didn't see that. Alright, so now since all my dry ingredients are all mixed up, I'm going to dump them in slowly. If you just dump this all in, it will implode right into your face and you'll lose a lot of your flour. Trust me, been there, done that. See the poofs? I should probably slow it back down. Get everything in there. Now just let that mix a little bit. Could come through, and the smell coming out of the oven right now too. All right, that's pretty good. That looks really consistent and wavy. It's not lumpy, it's creamy. That's kind of some of the perfect batter you're looking for right there. So if you have something different than what that looks like there, then check your ingredients. Very easy to miss something, right? Boom. Now, next thing we'll do is I'll take my batter. And now I'm going to take a third of this batter and I'm going to lace it around the bottom edge of the bundt pan. And then when I get to the edge of that bundt pan, or when I'm all the way around, is the trick of where I add a layer of sugar and cinnamon, which when you're eating the cake gives you that layer effect, but also that really good taste of cinnamon. So I could use a little bit more right in that area. A little bit more right here. It's a little void right there. Level that one out. Now, if I was super prepared, I'd have... This is where I also can reduce my sugar intake. Mom used to put a full half cup or maybe a little bit more than a half a cup of sugar in. And so I'm going to do quarter cups, and then my second one is a little less. So I'm reducing my sugar, but I'm not really blowing the taste of this cake at all by doing that. And then I'm gonna add a tablespoon or even more of cinnamon. So, you know, I like some volume, no problem. Mix that all up into a bowl. Can you see those ridges like a gold pan? It really helps here in a second of how to distribute this onto the coffee cake itself. So that's a pretty good mix up. Boom. Now those little flakes of the gold pan, you just want to go around and put a little layer for the first layer on your cake. Oh, scrumptious. Now I've got two-thirds left. Here we go. I'm going to put a thick batch on around here. Now this is where I use my finger, because if you shake this pan, all of the cinnamon goes to the outside of the pan. So don't lick your finger too many times. Lace that in there. Just like when you're drinking with your pinky, it's just opposite. You just keep your finger safe, clean. But yeah, you can eat batter easily. It's so good. It smells so good too. Now we've added the cinnamon. Oh my Lord, oh yes. I was always amazed if people wanted the recipe. So here's the recipe, everybody. If you really need to know the secret ingredient, you'll have to get a hold of me. So here we go with a little gold pan again. You can blow it in this area by dumping it all on. But if you have a little pan with some ridges, and now I like to make this second layer really heavy. And the top layer can be super thin, because if you put a lot on the top layer, it basically just is going to fall off when you are done cooking. And so you've gone and wasted a lot of product that's not going to be in the flavor of the cake anymore. So if I did my thirds and everything correctly, I might have added a little more on that bottom layer, or mid layer, but here we go. Look in there what I have left. Boom. Quick clean of the pan will give me the last amount of ingredients I need. Even a little bit more in there. Fill in the voids. This is a nice creamy batter. Maybe a little more vanilla. Could have made it a little more creamier. Boom, boom, boom. Done. We add the last little bit of coating on the top, because if you do excess here, it just falls off after it cooks. So cover all the batter. Light shake. Voila! There is Timmy C's coffee cake. Now, preheat your oven If you got a convection oven, I highly suggest you use the convection mode. Cook it for 1 hour at 350 for 1 hour. And if you take your kitchen knife and at the 1 hour mark, dip this down through your batter of your cake. If there's any liquid, anything left on the stainless steel, you need to keep cooking it for 2-3 more minutes. If it comes out perfectly clean, you're absolutely done. Pull it, let it cool for maybe 3-5 minutes, and then you can set out a bread tray, flip it upside down, pop it out of the pan, take another drying rack like these, and then put it on the bottom of the pan, flip it back over, and you'll have your cake here. Cover it with a cloth, let it cool off, and then you can stick it in one of the, if you don't have one, you should get one of those. This is the best thing, morning, noon, or night. Oh my God, you're gonna love it. Everybody, thank you so much for even wanting to know what my recipe is. The appreciation I get back is just trifold, tenfold, 100-fold. Okay, the alarm just went off. There they are. Ooh, baby. Okay, so I'm going to pull them out. And as I said before, all I want to do is check them with a regular butter knife and see if anything sticks. Perfectly good. So I know that they're all good basically at this point. So we're going to pull them out and put them on the rack. There they are on the cooling rack. Give them 10, 15, 20 on the rack. Oh, baby. Man, do they look good. So, that's my mom's coffee cake. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. And you ever want to make a cake with me, let me know. Subscribe, hit up our webpage, hit up our, oh man, just happy holidays, everybody. 2023, what an incredible year. Oh my God, happy holidays. Mwah!